This is absolutely sickening, as Masai Ujiri has been fired by the Toronto Raptors. I repeat, Masai Ujiri has been fired by Toronto in a shocking turn of events. Yes, there was some criticism thrown the way of Masai Ujiri's previous moves and the draft and that type of stuff. I disagreed with a lot of it, but Masai Ujiri's been facilitating a rebuild, been starting a restart, and is in the final year of his contract. And after the draft, so not even, figuring out going into this with a plan. After the NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors come out and decide to fire Masai Ujiri in an absolutely insane turn of events. So we're going to break down this report, what it means to the Toronto Raptors, and break down whether or not this team is cooked, whether or not this organization is cooked right now. So we got a lot to dive into. Again, I appreciate everyone that's tuned in the vids. We broke 38,000 subscribers. We need more people out here in this Raptors Digest community to sound our voices, because I've been out here starting a movement to not trade away RJ Barrett. The movement should have been to not fire Masai Ujiri. It should have been. So let's take a look. I'm a mess right now. I'm pressing the wrong buttons. I'm pressing the wrong animations. But let's take a look at this report. As Shams dropped a bombshell today, revealing that Masai Ujiri is out as vice chairman and president of the Toronto Raptors. Went on to say that Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and Masai Ujiri have decided to part ways, as Ujiri was entering the final year of his contract. So again, they're using the parting ways, but this is just an absolute insane, shocking turn of events for this team. And it puts a lot of what's been going on as of late into context, because you see all the reports, all the discussions, everything that's been going on about the Raptors trying to land a big fish, try to make a big move. Masai Ujiri is trying to keep his job. Masai Ujiri was trying to keep his job with one of these blockbuster moves, one of these blockbuster deals, and now he is out. He couldn't land Durant, he couldn't land Giannis. He was about to mortgage the future on one of these star players. It's why we're in the mix for all these different names and all that, because Masai Ujiri, completely unwarranted as well, was trying to keep his job and tried to make a big fish, a big swing for this team. Shocker. Absolute shocker. And now, in terms of what's next, in terms of what's going on with this team, this is coming at a time when the Toronto Raptors are under a different structure, a different ownership group. And this is coming as a surprise to pretty well everyone. I mean, Blake Murphy came out and said, all right, this is always a possibility with 1 year left on his deal in ownership, but damn, oh my God. You see that after the draft. After the draft, where Masai Ujiri is finding these gems, finding these guys the same way he has for a very, very long time. And I thought did a great job with his draft selections. A lot of the people in the know are pretty happy with the moves that he made. And you fire him after the draft, a few days before free agency. There has to be a plan in place in terms of what's next, because this signals two things for this future of the Toronto Raptors team, which has me very, very concerned. Edward Rogers is just a maniac. He's a maniac. He's done with the Blue Jays. He's made some weird decisions, weird moves at, trying to be the sports czar around Toronto. He has thrown his weight around and did not want to pay Masai Ujiri. He'll pay Vladimir Guerrero Jr., $1 billion to play for the Toronto Blue Jays, but won't fork up a few million for Masai Ujiri to run this team. As we are in the middle of a very, very important rebuild, putting together some assets, really putting together a team that has a lot of upside, a lot of the right guys moving forward. And instead, we fire Masai, we just let him go, we let him walk, we let him do whatever, and we don't really have a direction here now at this point, because as said, this team is in the middle of a rebuild. It's in the dead middle. We just traded for Brandon Ingram to facilitate this. We have to make decisions on Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett's contracts. We have to extend Jakob Poeltl, right? The relationship there. Now, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to be the GM, who's going to be stepping in, who's going to be doing what. And the Toronto Raptors have to figure this out on the fly during one of the most crucial, important off seasons in franchise history. Now, we are very early to this in terms of what's going on, in terms of what's happening, but we did have a report drop from Brett Siegel, essentially revealing that Bobby Webster led the Toronto Raptors draft efforts this week. Sources told Clutch Points a decision to part ways with Masai Ujiri was not influenced by the NBA draft. So, right now, some people are, I've seen a lot of people, I'm getting spammed phone calls as this ended up happening and ended up going off. But basically, they didn't draft Malawatch, so they fired Masai, or he's going off the AWOL. He tried to. No, that's not what happened. Bobby Webster apparently ran this NBA draft, so I'd imagine the plan is in place, according to this report, that Bobby Webster will end up leading the show, will end up running this Toronto Raptors team. So that gives me hope that this team won't be cooked out there for the future. We do have to deal with an absolutely insane owner right now. So it's, Blue Jays fans will know this. Edward Rogers can meddle. He can do some different things, can put pressure as certain owners can. He has more and more power now with the MLSE takeover of all these different Bell shares and stuff. But basically, at least we have a guy, Bobby Webster, who's been the understudy to Masai Ujiri. At least we have him at the helm. He was the architect of the Kawhi Leonard trade. And now news came out from Brett Siegel that he ran the NBA draft. It was led by Bobby Webster. So he is the guy that made these decisions. I was fairly happy with the Toronto Raptors kind of pursuit and different moves and different things that were happening. And frankly, it could be the change of gear because, as I mentioned, big fish hunting, KD, Giannis, Sabonis, all these different names getting thrown out there. Those are moves that scream of, hey, we need to push this rebuild so I don't get fired. It's that type of move, right? We need to win now fast so the fans, ownership's happy and stuff. But if there's some security to Bobby Webster, and that's what I need right now. If it comes out Bobby Webster part ways or we let him go, this franchise is cooked. Edward Rogers didn't have a single sentiment of a plan here now at this point if that's the case. But if Bobby Webster is leading the show, I think this team could be fine moving forward. It's not going to be disastrous, and honestly, might be more stable for this team than Masai really just trying to make a home run swing this summer to save his job, which he shouldn't have been. Masai Ujiri has earned the tenure to go through this rebuild, to go through the process of reconstructing this team, and I thought really did a really strong job of building the foundations for this Toronto Raptors group. So don't get me wrong that I'm saying, Masai Ujiri is an idiot for doing all this stuff. This is clearly, he was pushed in this direction to make some moves, to make some changes out there at this point, but it's probably better for the Toronto Raptors long term that we don't rush what we currently have going, because this team is loaded with young players, with young prospects, with young guys that frankly can come into their own and be really, really effective for this team, right? Our bench is loaded now with Jamal Shead, with Jacoby Walter, with Gradey Dick, with Jonathan Mobo, now with CMB, with our guy Elijah Martin, with, I was going to do some videos out there on even the two-way guys seem interesting now at this point. Then we have a starting unit of IQ, RJ Barrett. Ochai Baji's a guy that also I always forget to mention because he's half a starter, half the bench, so you don't link him with both. But you have Scottie Barnes, Brandon Ingram on this team, Jakob Poeltl. I don't care what people say about this. I don't care what Bill Simmons says. We got Perk backing us up out there online. This Raptors team has a ton of talent. It's insanely deep, and it's just ridiculous. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. This is an absolute shocker. I'm sure we're going to get more and more details as we go throughout this day. So subscribe to Raptors Digest so you don't miss a single thing that's going on. Anyways, you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.